You've got to understand something. Every single victory, every loss, every moment of hesitation or confidence, it all starts in the same place. Your mind. Before you even take your first step, before you make a move, you've already won or lost up here. Your mind is the greatest battlefield you'll ever face. It's not the economy. It's not the competition. It's not the environment. It's you versus you. Every day you wake up, there's a war going on inside your head between doubt and belief, fear and faith, excuses and execution. And the one that wins is the one you feed the most. If you keep feeding your doubts, you'll starve your dreams. But if you feed your faith, your vision, your hunger, there's nothing on this planet that can stop you. See, most people never lose because they aren't capable. They lose because they've already surrendered mentally. They wake up and tell themselves they're tired. They look at their situation and say, I can't make it out. They let the circumstances around them dictate the conversation inside their head. But champions, people who truly dominate, they flip that. They don't let the outside world control their inner world. They use their mind to control how they see everything. They can be broke and still think rich. They can be tired and still speak energy. They can be in pain and still see purpose. That's what makes them unstoppable. You can't win a battle you haven't prepared your mind for. If your thoughts are weak, your actions will be weak. If your beliefs are small, your results will be small. The world doesn't bend to your effort. It bends to your mindset. The people who go far in life aren't always the smartest, strongest, or most talented. They're the ones who refuse to lose in their minds. They tell themselves, no matter what, I'm coming out on top. They don't quit when it gets hard because they already decided long before the challenge came that quitting wasn't an option. You can't just train your body. You've got to train your mind. You can spend hours working out, hustling, studying, but if your mind isn't conditioned, one little setback will knock you out. One piece of bad news will break your spirit. One rejection will make you give up. That's why you gotta build mental strength the same way you build muscle. You've gotta push through the resistance. Every time your mind tells you to stop, you push one more rep. Every time your thoughts say you can't, you respond, yes, I can, and I will. Winning in your mind means refusing to let emotions make decisions for you. You can't be led by how you feel, because feelings change. One day you're motivated, the next day you're not. One day you're confident, the next you're filled with doubt. But purpose doesn't change. When you decide mentally that you're all in, when you lock into your mission and say, no matter what happens, I'm not backing down, you start to develop something most people never have. Mental dominance. You become the type of person who doesn't need motivation. You become the motivation. You got to protect your mental space like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop letting negative people dump their garbage in your mind. Stop scrolling through social media, comparing your life to others. Stop replaying old failures like a broken record. That mental clutter is stealing your energy, your focus, your peace. You can't win a war when the battlefield is full of noise. You need silence. You need clarity. You need to build a mental fortress so strong that no outside force can penetrate it. That means spending time alone, reflecting, praying, meditating, affirming your goals, and reminding yourself every single day who you are, what you're capable of. People talk about success like it's luck or opportunity, but success is mental first. It's the decision you make when nobody's watching. It's what you tell yourself after you fail. It's what you believe when the world doubts you. Every successful person you admire, they didn't start with confidence. They built it through mental repetition. They told themselves every single day, I will make it. I will rise. I will win. And eventually their mind believed it. And when your mind believes, your actions follow. That's why I'm telling you, if you want to change your life, don't start with your job, your environment, or your relationships. Start with your mindset. Upgrade your thoughts, and your reality will follow. Because the truth is, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you believe you deserve. If you keep it small, you keep living small. But if you start thinking like a champion, if you wake up every morning and tell yourself, I was built for this, I can handle this, you'll start seeing doors open. You'll start seeing doors open that were once invisible. You've got to get to the point where your mind is so strong that it becomes unshakable. That voice inside your head, that little whisper that tells you you're not enough, that you can't do it, that you'll never make it, That's the real enemy. It's not the people doubting you. It's not your lack of resources. It's not your circumstances. It's that negative self-talk that keeps repeating the same lies until you start believing them. Every time you listen to it, every time you let it speak louder than your vision, you give it power over your life. And the sad truth is, most people lose not because of what's happening around them, but because of what's happening inside them. They let that voice win, even try. They give up before the battle begins. You've got to take control of that conversation in your head. You've got to stop letting fear speak louder than faith. You've got to stop letting your mind play games with your potential. When that voice says, you're not good enough, you need to respond, I was built for this. When it says, you're too late, you got to say, my timing is divine. When it says, you can't handle this, you got to say, watch me. You've got to start talking to yourself differently. You've got to start speaking life where you used to speak limits. Negative self-talk doesn't disappear on its own. You can't wait for it to stop. You've got to fight it every single day. It's like weeds in a garden. If you don't pull them out, they'll choke everything you've been trying to grow. Every thought you entertain either builds you or breaks you. That's why you have to be intentional. The mind doesn't automatically think positive. You have to train it. You got to plant seeds of affirmation, gratitude, and belief every single morning. Before you check your phone, before you talk to anyone else, talk to yourself. Speak victory before the day even begins. When you wake up and look in the mirror, don't see flaws, see progress. Don't see failure, see lesson. Don't see someone who's behind, see someone who's becoming. Because the way you see yourself determines the way you move. You can't act like a champion if you keep calling yourself a loser. You can't build confidence if you keep tearing yourself down. The world can't believe in you until you believe in yourself first. There's power in your words, and your mind listens to every time you say. Every time you call yourself stupid, your brain records it. Every time you say, I can't, your body obeys it. You are literally programming your mind with every word you speak. That's why you've got to change the language. Stop saying it if and start saying if it, start saying a when. Stop saying a maybe and start saying a definitely. Stop saying a someday and start saying a day. You can't have a powerful life with powerless language. Speak like the person you want to become, not the person you used to be. You've got to make affirmations your daily armor. When the world throws negativity at you, let your affirmations bounce it back. Say to yourself, I am strong, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am built for greatness. Even if you don't feel it yet, keep saying it until you believe it. Because repetition rewires the brain. The same way negative self-talk programs fear, positive affirmations program courage. You've got to train your mind until confidence becomes your default setting. But here's the truth. This is not easy. You're fighting years of conditioning. You're fighting voices from your past. People who told you that you wouldn't make it, that you weren't special, that you'd never be enough. Those words might still echo in your mind, but you got to decide that they end with you. You can't carry those voices into your future. You've got to silence them with truth. You've got to drown them out with action. Every time you take a step forward, you prove those voices wrong. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you rewrite your story. You can't control what people say about you, but you can control what you say to yourself. You can't control every thought that enters your mind, but you can decide which ones you give attention to. You can't stop the voice of doubt from speaking, but you can turn up the volume on belief. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, stop immediately. Don't feed it, replace it. If your mind says, I'm not ready, replace it with, I'm preparing. If it says, I'm scared, replace it with, I'm excited to grow. If it says, it's impossible, replace it with, this is a challenge worth fighting for. The most powerful people in the world aren't those without fear or doubt. They're the ones who've learned to master the conversation inside their own head. They've learned that thoughts are not commands. They're suggestions. You don't have to accept every thought that comes your way. You have the power to choose which ones you'll believe. And when you start choosing thoughts that empower you instead of weaken you, everything changes. You start walking differently. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants the lifestyle, the freedom, the results. But very few understand that before you see it on the outside, it's built on the inside. Success doesn't start with what you do. It starts with how you think. You can't live a winning life with a losing mindset. You can't expect consistency when your thoughts are chaotic. Mental discipline is the foundation that holds everything else together. Without it, your grind will collapse under pressure. You can wake up early, work long hours, and push your body to the limit. But if your mind isn't aligned, you'll always find a way to sabotage your progress. That's why success begins in the mind before it ever shows up in reality. Mental discipline means controlling your thoughts, even when your emotions are loud. It's the ability to stick to a plan when every part of you wants to quit. Most people think success is about how hard you work, but real success is about how focused you can stay. When distractions come, when doubts arise, when things don't go as planned, can you still stay locked in? Because that's the real test. Your body will follow your mind, so if your mind is undisciplined, your actions will be inconsistent. The ones who make it to the top aren't always the strongest. They're the ones whose minds refuse to break. You've got to understand emotions lie. Feelings will tell you you're tired when you got more in the tank. They'll tell you to rest when you haven't earned it yet. They'll tell you to give up when the breakthrough is one more step away. That's why discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation fades. It's easy to feel fired up when things are going your way. But what about when they're not? What about when nobody's clapping for you, when you fail 3 times in a row, when you're tired and nothing's working? That's where mental discipline kicks in. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. It says that my emotions don't run my life. My purpose does. You can't let your thoughts drift. The moment you lose focus, your goals start slipping. Your thoughts are like wild horses. If you don't take the reins, they'll take you somewhere you don't want to go. You've got to train your mind to stay where your goals are. That means when you wake up, your first thoughts need to align with your purpose. When problems hit, your mind should default to solutions, not complaints. When things get hard, your mindset should say, oh, good. That means I'm growing. That's the power of a trained mind. It finds strength in struggle. You got to stop waiting to feel ready. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. Discipline shows up whether you're in the mood or not. The best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best leaders, they're not great because they always feel great. They're great because they've trained themselves to show up, no matter what. They've mastered the art of consistency, and every day they make the same decision. I'm going to get better. Oh, and when your mind learns to stay locked in on growth instead of comfort, that's when your results start to multiply. People underestimate how powerful mental discipline really is. It's not just about doing what you need to do. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle success when it comes. Because success will test you. It will stretch you. It will expose every weakness you haven't dealt with. If you don't have mental control, success can destroy you as quickly as failure can. That's why you've got to build strength in silence, develop focus when nobody's watching, and stay consistent when the excitement fades. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the bridge between dreams and reality. You've got to train your mind the same way an athlete trains for competition. Every day you got to work on your focus, your patience, your resilience. When your mind says, I can, you've got to correct it immediately. Yes, I can, and I will. When it says, it's too much, you got to push back. Oh, was built for this. That's not arrogance. That's training. You're reprogramming your brain to stop panicking under pressure. You're teaching yourself to think strength, not stress. You're building a mental foundation that can carry the weight of your ambition. Mental discipline is also about what you allow into your mind. You can't fill your head with negativity and expect a positive life. You've got to be careful about what you listen to, what you watch, and who you spend time with. Your environment feeds your thoughts, and your thoughts fuel your behavior. Surround yourself with people and content that sharpen your mind, not dull it. When you're around energy that lifts you up, it's easier to stay disciplined. But when you're constantly surrounded by excuses and negativity, it's only a matter of time before your mindset weakens. Protect your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. There's going to be days when you don't feel like doing anything. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Everything you see, everything you experience, everything you achieve starts as a thought. Before the business was built, it was a thought. Before the body was transformed, it was a thought. Before the dream became real, it was a thought. The way you think shapes the world around you because your actions always follow your beliefs. If you think small, you'll act small. If you think big, you'll act bold. You can't create a winning life with a losing mindset. The world you live in is simply a reflection of the world inside your head. And if you want to change what's outside, you got to change what's within. Most people think their reality defines their thoughts, but it's the other way around. You don't think successful because you're rich. You get rich because you think successful. You don't think powerful because life is good. Life gets good because you think powerful. It's all about perspective. Two people can go through the same storm. One breaks, the other grows. The difference isn't the storm, it's the mindset. You can see problems or possibilities, you can see pain or progress. You can focus on the wall or the door. The direction of your thoughts determines the direction of your life. You gotta stop saying you can't and start saying you can. You gotta stop saying it's impossible and start asking how it's possible. Words shape thoughts and thoughts shape outcomes. Every time you speak defeat, your mind believes it. Every time you speak victory, your mind starts searching for ways to make it happen. That's how powerful your thoughts are. They either chain you down or lift you up. You gotta be intentional about what you allow to grow in your mind, because whatever you water with attention will take root. You can't plant doubt and expect confidence to grow. You can't plant fear and expect courage to bloom. You gotta fill your mind with thoughts that align with the future you're building, not the past you've been through. You can't think like a victim and live like a victor. You can't say, I'll never get out and expect to climb. You can't hold on to old beliefs and expect new blessings. Your thoughts have energy, and that energy draws experiences to you. When you think success, you start acting successful. You carry yourself differently. You move with purpose. People feel it. Opportunities start finding you because you've raised your frequency. The universe, life, God, whatever you believe in, responds to your mindset. If your thoughts are filled with scarcity, you'll always struggle. But if your thoughts are filled with abundance, you'll always attract more. The problem is, most people think from their history, not their destiny. They let past failures define what's possible instead of realizing those failures were lessons. Your mind will replay old pain if you let it. But you gotta interrupt the pattern. The next time your thoughts try to take you back to a place of doubt or disappointment, remind yourself that your past was preparation, not punishment. You're not who you were. You're who you decide to become. The power to shift your entire life begins with one decision: to think differently. When you start to think like a winner, you stop blaming and start building. You stop complaining and start seeing limitations and start seeing limitations and start seeing leverage. Winners don't ignore reality. They redefine it. They say, okay, this is where I am, but this is not where I stand. They use their thoughts as fuel. They visualize success until it feels real, and then they move like it's already theirs. That's not arrogance. That's belief. And belief is the engine of achievement. If your belief is weak, your execution will be weak. But if your belief is strong, you'll keep moving even when the world says stop. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant what you want, weeds will grow by default. The world is full of negativity, and if you don't guard your mind, it'll plant seeds of fear and doubt before you even realize it. That's why you gotta spend time every day renewing your thoughts. Read something that challenges you. Listen to something that uplifts you. Surround yourself with people who think higher, talk bigger, dream louder. The more you expose your mind to growth, the more natural it becomes to think success. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what moves you forward. You've got to train your thoughts to see opportunity where others see obstacles. Every challenge you face has a lesson in it. But if your mind is clouded with negativity, you'll miss it. When something goes wrong, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? That shift in thinking turns pain into progress. It turns setbacks into setups. It turns failure into fuel. Life is not about avoiding hard moments. It's about mastering your mindset so you can turn them into stepping stones. Your mind is sacred space. It's the control center for your entire life, the place where your beliefs, emotions, and actions are born. Whatever lives in your mind eventually shows up in your life, so you've got to guard it with everything you've got. You can't let negativity rent space in your head and expect peace. You can't feed your mind with chaos and expect clarity. You can't surround yourself with people who speak defeat and expect to live in victory. Protecting your mind isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's one of the most powerful things you can ever do, because when your mind is pure and focused, nothing outside of you can break you. The truth is, most people don't lose because of a lack of talent or opportunity. They lose because they allow the wrong energy to take root in their minds. They spend hours scrolling through negativity, comparing their lives to others, listening to voices that tear them down instead of building them up. Every time you absorb negativity, it becomes a seed planted in your subconscious. You may not notice it at first, but over time it grows into self-doubt, fear, and hesitation. That's why you gotta be intentional about what you let in. Your mind is not a dumping ground for other people's drama or opinions. It's a garden that deserves care, focus, and positive growth. When you wake up every day, your first thoughts set the tone for everything that follows. If the first thing you see is social media, if the first thing you feel is stress, your day starts on defense. But if you wake up and fill your mind with gratitude, affirmations, and purpose, you take control before the world can. You have to train yourself to feed your mind before the world feeds you. That means reading books that challenge your thinking, listening to messages that lift your spirit, surrounding yourself with people who believe in growth. What you feed your mind becomes your mindset, and your mindset determines your movement. You've got to start filtering what comes into your life. Every conversation, every song, every post you consume, it's either feeding your focus or draining your energy. Start asking yourself, is this helping me grow? If it's not, it doesn't deserve your time or attention. You've got to become the gatekeeper of your mind. Not everything deserves access. People will bring negativity disguised as advice, fear disguised as wisdom, and gossip disguised conversation. You've got to be strong enough to walk away from all of it. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you're antisocial. It means you value your mental space too much to let anything toxic live there. There's a reason why champions spend time alone. They understand that solitude isn't loneliness, it's strength. It's in those quiet moments that they reset, recharge, and refocus. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, you lose touch with your inner voice. You start living by what people think instead of what you believe. But when you step away, when you give yourself time to breathe and reflect, you reconnect with your purpose. You start hearing your own thoughts again. You start realizing that half the battles you've been fighting weren't even yours. They were planted by other people's opinions. That's why you need silence. It's in silence that the mind heals and becomes sharp again. You can't grow in toxic soil. If the people around you don't challenge you, inspire you, or support your growth, you've got to change your environment. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about protecting your mindset. You can't soar like an eagle if you're surrounded by pigeons who are afraid to leave the ground. Surround yourself with people who speak life, who talk goals, who see potential even when things look dark. When your circle is positive, your mindset becomes stronger. And when your mindset is strong, there's nothing you can't overcome. Guarding your mind also means controlling your inner dialogue. The most dangerous words are the ones you tell yourself. When you constantly repeat, or can't do this, or I'm not enough, you're building walls in your own mind. You've got to catch those thoughts and replace them with truth. Tell yourself, I'm capable, I'm growing, I'm learning, I will get there. It's not about pretending life is easy. It's about choosing the thoughts that give you power instead of pain. The voice in your head can either be your biggest cheerleader or your biggest enemy. You decide which one it will be. Protecting your mind doesn't mean avoiding reality. It means approaching it with strength and focus. Challenges will come, pain will come, but when your mind is grounded, you don't break under pressure. You bend, but you don't break. You fall, but you rise faster. Because your peace isn't built on what's happening outside. It's built on what you build inside. That's what mental protection does. It keeps you steady when the world gets chaotic.